Hello, Galaxy! I'm Chris Pirillo, and you're watching the Locker Room Daily Report, or TLDR for short. And today, I would like to give my review, finally, of the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I probably won't stop talking about this device. Of course, I've been talking near non-stop about this device over the past week or so. I am streaming this particular recording, as I've been doing pretty much every night, on Twitch. I'm live every evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Links in the video description. Feel free to join the community there. You never know what I'm going to be talking about because I'm a variety streamer. I've done a lot of iPhone 13 Pro Max videos. I may do a few more, certainly future comparisons as new devices come down the pike. But I felt I needed to do my review. There's a lot to like and a lot to dislike. So I'm going to do my best to just give you my experience. I'm obviously biased. You're biased, in case no one's told you that. This is just what I've gone through. As a human being, I have a certain feeling about one option or another, and you're different. We can disagree on things, and hopefully that'll be okay. I found out today that some people did not like the fact that I did not like the camera on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I like the video output, but not the photo output. But apparently a lot of the photo issues I had with the 13 Pro Max were also prevalent in the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So it wasn't a faulty device, and it wasn't the fact that I couldn't take a picture, because side by side, when compared against other Android devices, the shot came out great and composed well, but the iPhone camera was absolutely not to my liking. If you did not watch the hour-long photo comparison test between the Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max and the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, it was a long video, but I did my best to show a variety of shots. I posted a few on Twitter. I got flamed nearly out of existence. People just did not like what they saw, but are you going to say that the camera lens is biased? I'm not telling you which photo to like better. I'm not telling you which phone to like better. I'm just giving you my impressions. And my initial impression was positive. I loved what I saw. It was a nice update, or I will say this, it is a nice update from earlier iPhones. Any earlier iPhone, specifically because of ProMotion. It cannot be, that cannot be underscored enough. ProMotion makes this device the best iOS device you can get. That's not necessarily an accolade, right? I'm just saying, in context, it's absolutely, it's the deal breaker for me, because when a device does not have a high refresh rate, or like 120 hertz refresh rate screen, where the display and the items on the display could basically run at 120 frames per second. So my initial excitement kind of wore off, because the more I used it, the more I felt not so great, because I am not a fan of iOS. I've made no secret about that. For you, I'm sure it's great. That's awesome. If you're locked that way and that's the way you want, that's cool. I'm not trying to take anything away from you. But to me, the hardware is spectacular. I mean, I believe that the hardware here is fine. It's the software that I have an issue with. So the initial excitement, once I got past that, the beauty of the screen, not just the brightness, not just the vibrancy, but the fluidity of the screen, I had to use the software, and kept using the software, and kept finding myself going, and not just because I'm used to Android and the variety of experiences on Android, because one Android device is not necessarily like another. I felt this way even when I was using iOS as a daily driver. So the initial excitement wore off. The feel, in terms of a device, it's hefty, but I don't mind that. I don't mind the heft of this phone. Would I like something that would be a little lighter? Sure, but it doesn't bother me. Just know you're getting chonky. And despite the bezel being less chonky, despite the notch being less chonky than previous generations, any notch is too chonky for me. Not a fan of the notch. I will say this. It largely melts away when you're using it, specifically with apps that have like an AMOLED dark mode. Like in Discord, you could tap dark in settings like 5 or 6 times, and at least on Android, and it unlocks the AMOLED display, black display. But on a large enough device, you can get away with not paying attention to it. But it's still, I feel, the wrong way to go. It's just a temporary blip on technology's radar. For the design, you know, as I mentioned in my the things that I like, I love the congruity, by and large, of how this looks, just like this perfectly shaped slab of metal and glass and whatever elements are in here. So I like the look, I like the feel, but I'll go back to say that it's not just what this is, it's what it does. And a lot of reviewers focus on what it is, and I want to focus on what it does, because that's what matters for me in experience. You need good hardware to have good software, but if the software doesn't provide you an experience that you want, it doesn't matter what kind of hardware you throw at it. This is why I'm not a reviewer, by the way. I suck at reviews. Even during this review, I'm telling you, this is not what I want to do. I love talking about things. This is why I'm streaming this stuff live on Twitch. But in terms of reviews, yeah, I know there are people out there who could probably do a better job with that, but I'm not as interested in they are in reviewing devices, because I don't want to look at all the things. I want to look at the things that I'm interested in. In terms of the options, Apple has been layering feature upon feature upon feature upon feature for years, and it's nice to have new features, but the problem is they've been just stacked one on top of the other, and it just seems like this conglomeration of features that is just not just overwhelming, but just here and then here, but then also here, and then they added this, and then this is coming, and then this is going to happen, and there's no system. The system needs to be almost re-architected to accommodate what Apple wants to do with iOS. I'm sure that will happen sooner or later, but right now it just feels like a mishmash of features and implementation of features, and forget the design, forget the animation jank that is still present, forget the weird design decisions that they made that are incongruent or inconsistent. I've documented some of the stuff on Twitter, which is where I've been doing most of this, if not on Twitch. They're talking about it at least. But the options are there, but I'm not quite sure Apple's nailed the implementation unless you love iOS. That's the caveat. Responsiveness, and I think this is key for any device, spot on. The fluidity has been largely good, despite Apple not having implemented, or all third-party apps having implemented the ability to access ProMotion technology. They did it on the iPad, but for some reason Apple decided not to do that on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. It makes no sense. But even not having that there, this is still a better device than previous iOS devices for the ProMotion display alone. Audio was great. Listening to videos, rich sound. I like the speakers on the iPhone. Not like I listen to a lot, but if I was needing to watch a video in a pinch and didn't have it on a TV or a tablet, having the speaker here would not annoy me as much as it would on certain other tablets that I've used in the past, Android tablets, for whatever it's worth. The cameras, I mentioned at the beginning, but just to kind of come back to this, I feel that Apple output on the still photos is optimized for scenes that I'm not taking. I was not as impressed with it as other people have been. I feel that I've documented this extensively in that dedicated video. Maybe I'll do another one of those when another camera gets released. They need to tweak their algorithms, their computational photography, their smart HDR4, which you cannot toggle on the 13 Pro Max. It was just off for me. I did not have a good experience with the still camera, but the video quality, amazing. I think I only had like one glitch when I did the sample video. The macro video capabilities of the iPhone 13 Pro Max, again, to me, that's a flagship feature. Love that. Video, awesome. Photos, I can't say that they were necessarily awesome by comparison or even standalone, and I will continue to share the shots that I've been taking. The battery life, I think it's fantastic. Gets me through the day. I mean, probably one of the reasons for the chonkiness, but yeah, I was fine. Like, I was able to leave it overnight, even on wireless network, and I think it dipped by like 1%. Like, that's awesome. So yeah, the battery life was ample. If I can get through a day or a couple days without charging, and I wasn't necessarily heavy using it every day, but I was taking a lot of photos with it, it was fine. The experience, and this to me is the bottom line, it's okay. The experience of the iPhone 13 Pro Max is okay. As I said before, it's the best iOS phone. That is an absolutely true statement. It is, because of the ProMotion display, because of the speed, but I feel that the software is the thing that, much like with the iPad, I feel the thing that I want Apple to work on most. Not the hardware. They've nailed the hardware. Like, just work on the software next year. Don't even release a new chip. Release new software. Just I know it's different development teams, but that to me would just unlock the power and potential of the outstanding hardware that they put together. For value, this is where, you spend the money on a product. Are you going to get the value back? It kind of depends on what you want from it. But for me, the value is okay, because I plan on using it in the setup, and I will do a video on this separately. I plan on using it in my live video setup. So for me, the value was spot on. I knew I was going to spend money, and this is the best iOS device that I can get, and I wanted to go with iOS because I like having one around, if only to test new features, if only to see if things have changed, if only to have and retain that experience. So I'm talking from a place of experience. I feel, though, that unless you need a high refresh rate display, the ProMotion display, the value for this device is low. You may be better served by a lesser iPhone or sticking with your current iPhone. The only reason I can see to upgrade, is if you do a lot of video, you're interested in the cinematic gimmick, or doing the ProRes stuff, and you need more storage, and or a faster processor. That the video makes sense to me, but also the display. If you're not interested in either of those two things, I'm not sure that the value would necessarily be there for you. I am kind of interested in it, so the value is, right in the middle. Things I like, in a nutshell, the TLDR version, general fluidity. Things I didn't like, the camera, the photo output, over and over and over again. Forget comparing it to anything else, just it alone. And iOS, still not a fan. Who is this for? People who want only to use an iPhone. They're in Apple's ecosystem. They don't want to leave. They're comfortable with it, but they needed to upgrade. It was an absolute good, solid upgrade from the old usability paradigm with the Touch ID button to the new Face ID paradigm, completely touch screen, notwithstanding. So that to me is if you're on that upgrade path, you want to stay in iOS, you're not Android curious, you don't care, you're fine with everything, software's not your cup of tea, or you're fine with the way Apple's doing software, then yeah, it's for you, or it could be for you, or any of the newer iPhones could be for you. I can say that for any one of them. Who is this not for? This is not for the average iPhone user who wants to stick with Apple. Like, even the people that are trying to get bragging rights, like I've got the biggest and the best and the fastest, sure, they're outliers. But for the average user, I think they could be better served by a newer generation iPhone, more so than this. This is overboard with the earlier caveats in the context. So that's not me. I'm doing my best to contextualize this for you. I'm not making any recommendations at all. I think you need to make these decisions for yourself. I also feel that you owe it to yourself to understand that there are better alternatives, and you don't have to stay on the same team forever. The only team that you have to be concerned with is Team You. Doesn't matter how many other people like it. Doesn't matter how many other people do their thing. It's about your choices and your decisions. I never want to tell you what to think. And if I have in the past, it was never intentional. Because you need to make this decision for yourself. But I feel I've said everything that I needed to say in this particular review, if you would call it that, and I'm sure you have plenty of other questions. If you want to see me do other videos on the iPhone, please let me know. I may consider it. I got a couple in mind offhand, but of course, as I said, I am streaming live on Twitch every day, not weekdays and weekends at 6 p.m. Pacific. Links are in the video description. I love you. I appreciate you, but at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices, and may the force be with you always.